Hello, my cute white lilies. Hope you're doing well. And welcome back to my channel. I'm here to start the new episode of Two Souls Written in Scars. Evening had descended. With the setting sun, darkness began to spread its wings. At Purushottam Nivas, Anant entered his room. He was already fully dressed and ready. By the mirror, he noticed Vidhita getting ready. Vidhita was his wife. Smiling, he approached the mirror, gazing at her reflection, and gently placed a hand on her shoulder, saying, "How do you always look so beautiful? Every time I see you, my breath halts. And how do you always look so handsome? Every time I look at you, my eyes can't move away." Vidita replied lovingly, looking into his eyes. Anand stepped back and, averting his gaze, said, "Hurry up now, we are getting late." "Are you blushing?" Vidita teased. Nothing like that. I'll go check on Anvi. You came downstairs," Anand said, quickly stepping out. Vidita smiled at his innocence. Anand behaved this way only with her. Otherwise, to the world, he was the most emotionless industrialist. Being tough was a necessity in the business world. After all, he single-handedly managed Purushottam Industries, which made him accustomed to putting on a tough face. But Vidita understood his emotions. She was a wonderful partner who had brought happiness and ease to his life. After their daughter Anvi was born 2 years ago, Anand's softer side began to surface. He was deeply protective of his daughter, wife, and family. A little later, when Vidita came downstairs to the hall, Anant was waiting for her. As soon as he saw her, he stood up and asked, "Shall we? What about Anvi?" Vidita inquired. Lovingly wrapping an arm around her waist and leading her outside, Anant said, "She's playing. Besides, if she sees us leaving, she'll cry the house down. And then we'll have to take her along. Akshar have already said no to bring Anvi. You know the kind of people who'll be there, right?" "Yeah," Vidita said deeply. Meanwhile, Trishvika had made up her mind that she wasn't staying here. She had to escape. She stepped out of her room and wandered around the mansion, searching for a way out. She knew Akshar wasn't home, which gave her some relief that she could find an escape route without being noticed. Tishika walked down the upper corridor, which was dimly lit. She treaded carefully, unaware that she wasn't alone on that floor. Someone was following her, walking right behind her. But Trishvika remained oblivious, not even sensing her presence. She had crossed just 2 windows, but it was futile. Jumping from such a height was impossible. Deciding it was better to head downstairs, she was about to turn back when she felt a tug on her dupatta. Realizing she wasn't alone, panic surged through her and she let out a terrified scream. "Ah!" She lost her balance and was about to fall when a strong hand catched hers, saving her just in time. Startled and terrified, Trishvika had shut her eyes tightly, but when she didn't feel any pain for a while, she slowly opened them. In the moonlight streaming through the window, she saw Akshar's face clearly. He was the one holding her hand. Her eyes widened with shock and fear. Her heartbeat quickened, partially from suddenly seeing Akshar and partially from the thought of what could have happened if she had fallen, endangering her baby. Akshar had been following Trishvika for 10 minutes, curious about what she was up to. Her movements made it clear that she was looking for an escape route. But after finally encountering her, he wasn't about to let her leave so easily. However, when she paused, Akshar accidentally stepped on the edge of her dupatta. When she moved, he realized his mistake and quickly freed her dupatta, causing her to lose balance. Thankfully, he catched her in time. Trishvika's face was pale with fear, which Akshar noticed. Yet in the moonlight, her face looked so beautiful. that for a moment he wanted to forget everything and lose himself in her deep eyes. But he quickly pulled out her closer, unintentionally making her stumble into his arms. Her hands rested on his chest while his hands held her waist. They were so close they could feel each other's warm breath. For the first time, Trishvika saw Akshar up close. Her heartbeat was erratic. She felt as though she had seen this face before, but couldn't recall where. In his deep voice, Akshar asked, "Were you running away?" Trishvika was jolt out of her thoughts. "Or planning to escape?" he repeated. Trishvika grew more nervous. Akshar clearly knew her intentions, but she couldn't admit it. Being this close to him rendered her speechless. She stammered, No, don't even think about it. I won't let you leave this place anymore. You have run enough." Akshar said firmly, I wasn't running. I was just exploring the mansion." She managed to lie awkwardly. "Good. You should familiarize yourself with this place," Akshar said, releasing her. "I have an important event tonight. I'll be back late. Have dinner and go to sleep." Without waiting for a response, Akshar walked away. In another part of Mumbai, Club Heaven was bustling with activity. Known for its exclusivity, it was a haven for underworld figures. Anant and Vidita entered the club hand in hand, observing the mix of business tycoons and underworld personalities. "I knew the type of party this was going to be," Anant remarked with a smirk. Exactly why he didn't want Anvi or mom and dad to come. Vidita replied, glancing around a smile. "Chiku isn't here yet," Anant noted. "Maybe late to his own party," teased Umang, president of the rival Alpha Association, mocking Akshar. The Alpha Association was a rival company to Ray Corporation in the business world, while in the underworld, Akshar and Umang were sworn enemies. Anant and Vidita glanced at Umang, who was in his late 20s. He was dressed in a black t-shirt paired with a grey suit, looking both handsome and charming. His sharp features were unmistakable, and the hatred he harbored for Akshar was evident on his face. He held a wine glass in his hand and a smug smirk played on his lips. While Anant chose to ignore him entirely, Vidita, wearing a smirk just as sarcastic, said, "No, Mr. Umang, he is not late to his party. In fact, the party will only begin when he arrives. Got it? Now please excuse us." As they walked away, Anand smiled proudly and said, "Wow, that's my wife. You nailed it, wifey." Vidita flipped her hair confidently. Does he even know who our Chiku is? And who is our Chiku? Anand teased playfully. With a proud smile, Vidita replied, "Akshar Purushottam, son of Nirvan Purushottam, president of Ray Corporation and known as the eternal death of Indian Mafia." Is that enough of his introduction, or should I go on? More than enough. Anand laughed. Back in the mansion, Trishvika muttered to herself, "Is this man a vampire? He appears out of nowhere in the dark. If I didn't have a heart attack today, it's a miracle." She placed her hand on her belly and said softly, "We are okay, baby. Don't worry. I'll get us out of here soon. Once we are free, we'll live a peaceful life together." Talking to her baby brought a smile to Trishvika's face. Then she thought she should go downstairs, but as she turned around, her eyes fell on her dupatta. Picking it up, she noticed it was badly torn thanks to Akshar stepping on it. It was her favorite dupatta, and now Akshar had ruined it. Seeing the condition of the dupatta, tears welled up in Trishvika's eyes. Clutching it tightly in her fist, she gritted her teeth in frustration, her face turning pouty as she yelled, "Oh, such a vampire! My dupatta! Vampire! That's what he is. At Club Heaven, the atmosphere suddenly buzzed with activity. Everyone sensed it. He had arrived. Akshar Purushottam had arrived. All eyes turned towards the entrance. First, a group of bodyguards in black uniforms, armed and imposing, walked in. Their intimidating presence alone confirmed that Akshar Purushottam had entered the premises. Anant and Vidita, standing together, exchanged knowing smiles and looked toward the door. Moments later, Akshar made his entrance, clad in a custom-made mint green suit. His sunglasses shielded his intense gaze, a Tissot watch adorned his wrist, and his polished shoes gleamed under the lights. His cold expressions matched his commanding aura, silencing the hall. The only sound was the echo of his footsteps reverberating through the space. Several more guards followed him in. As Akshar reached the center of the room, the guest's attention was entirely on him. With a faint smirk, he spoke. "Hello everyone. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation on such short notice and for being here tonight. I've thrown this party because I'm extremely happy. Something very precious, once lost, has returned to me. I thought I'd share this joy with all of you. So, enjoy the evening." Akshar then walked over to Anant and embraced him warmly. His smile now reached his eyes. "Hello, bhai." "Hello," Anant replied, patting his back affectionately. The tension in the room eased. Akshar turned to Vidita, gave her a side hug and said, "Hi, Bhabhi, and I'm sorry." "Sorry? For what?" Vidita asked, hugging him back with a smile. "After my fight with Dad and leaving home, I got so busy with work that I haven't visited in ages. Despite being so close, we have drifted apart. I'm really sorry, Bhabhi." Akshar admitted, bowing his head. Vidita gently touched his face and said, "Didn't you just say, Chiku, that we have drifted apart despite being close? That's not true. We are still as close at the heart as ever. Yes, we don't see you as much because of Dad, but there is no real distance between us. And you don't owe me an apology. You owe it to Mom. She's been waiting for you every day for 2 months, and every day her hopes shatter." Tears glistened in Akshar's eyes. He loved his parents deeply. It wasn't that he didn't care for his family, but his love for someone else was equally important to him. Now that his love had returned, he said, "I'll visit soon, Bhabhi. Mom's wait will end very soon. Forget that for now. Tell me, what's the big news? What have you regained that's made you so happy?" Vidita asked with a smile. Akshar smiled faintly and replied, "The very thing that took me away from all of you." "What? Really, Chiku? Are you serious?" Vidita looked at both Akshar and Anant in astonishment. Anant nodded with a smile while Akshar's expression confirmed her thoughts. Elated, Vidita hugged him again and exclaimed, "Oh my God! I'm so happy for you, Chiku. Where is she? Didn't you bring her?" "She is not ready to meet anyone yet, Bhabhi. I need to help her heal first. Once she is back to her old self, I'll introduce her to everyone." Akshar replied with a subdued smile. "All right, we have waited this long. A little more time won't hurt." Vidita said, laughing. "How's Anvi? Does she miss me?" Akshar asked. "Every single day. Whenever she remembers you, she starts calling Chiku Chiku," Anand said with a grin. "Aw, my little doll," Akshar chuckled. "But you both should teach her to call me Chachu. If people find out that such a tiny 2-year-old girl calls me, Akshar Purushottam, Chiku, my reputation will be in shambles." His comment made Anant and Vidita laugh. Their conversation was interrupted by a voice from across the room. "Finally, the host himself arrives, and the party can begin." All heads turned toward the voice. Standing opposite Akshar was Umang, the president of the Alpha Association and Akshar's rival. The air between them grew colder as their eyes locked, their expressions icy yet smiling. "I didn't expect you to come," Akshar said, smirking. "How could I miss such a big opportunity? These rare chances to face you without our forces are too tempting." Umang replied, his tone equally sharp. "I'm glad I sent you the invitation," Akshar retorted. "Of course, your invitations are rare and dangerous," Umang shot back. Akshar's smile deepened. "And yet here you are. Bold or foolish?" "None of these," Umang replied in the same tone. "The strategic one?" The tension between the two was palpable. Everyone present could sense it. They knew that these two, who could talk so civilly to each other, were actually willing to go to any lengths to destroy one another. Their rivalry was infamous, spanning not just the business world but the entire underworld. Akshar picked up 2 glasses of wine from a passing waiter, handed one to Umang and said, "Enjoying my hospitality, aren't you?" "Absolutely. Your wine is extraordinary, my friend." Umang took the glass from Akshar, clinked it against his and added with a smirk, "But don't you think your security feels a bit weak?" Akshar took a deep breath and smiled, replying, "No worries. Now that you are here, the security automatically tightens, right?" Akshar was indirectly comparing Umang to security, or rather implying he was one of them. The comment infuriated Umang, though he kept it to himself. "Soon I'll shake your entire security system. Fly high while you can," thought. Smiling faintly, he said, "Excuse me, please," and walked away. Akshar watched him leave with a victorious smile and then returned to his guests. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Trishvika had come downstairs. The place was eerily silent. It was already 9 p.m. and she had finished her dinner. She stepped out of her room to get some water. Anant hadn't returned to the mansion yet. Noticing the mansion was completely empty and the servants had likely retired to their quarters, Tishika decided that this was her chance. She held her phone, the only possession she had, and quietly made her way to the main door. Slowly she opened it and stepped outside. She still needed to cross the garden area. Though the mansion belonged to Akshar, he wasn't present at the moment, but his guards were stationed everywhere. She had noticed earlier that guards were placed both inside and outside the mansion. She had to leave without being seen. The night was silent and only a few guards near the entrance. Realizing she couldn't use the main door, she began searching the perimeter for a lower section of the wall she could climb over. But the walls were much higher than her height, leaving her hopeless. Then, her eyes landed on a staircase leading to the terrace beside the wall. She thought climbing these stairs might help her scale the wall. She cautiously extended, nearing the wall's edge. Looking down, she judged the height. High, but not impossible. She had scaled college walls before. This one seemed manageable. Just as she climbed onto the wall, her foot got stuck in the railing. When she yanked it free, the railing cracked, alerting the guards. They spotted her on the wall in the dim light. One guard rushed toward the stairs, shouting, "Wait, who's there? Stop!" But Trishvika couldn't afford to stop. She jumped off the wall and landed on the road outside. Despite stumbling, she steadied herself and ran toward the highway before the outer guards could reach her. Meanwhile, the guards inside the mansion sounded the alarm. Servants and guards searched every corner but soon realized Trishvika was gone. At the party, Akshar's phone rang. He answered, spoke briefly, and his expressions shifted from joy to rage. He barked into the phone. You're all useless. I'm coming. Block the entire city. Find her. If anything happens to her, none of you will survive. He smashed his phone to the ground in fury. Anant and Vidita, witnessing his outburst, exchanged glances. Vidita asked, "What just happened? He was so cheerful for a moment ago." "No idea, but something serious must have occurred," Anant replied, slipping his hand into his pocket. Akshar left the party immediately, indifferent to the important guests present. Trishvika's disappearance now outweighed everything else in importance. The party no longer mattered. Hey lilies, your turn to shine. What stole your heart in this chapter and what didn't? What deserves a little extra love? Share your thoughts in below. I can't wait to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like, comment and share this update with your favorite bookworms. Your support fuels our journey with this novel. Stay tuned for more twists and turns in Two Souls Written in Scars. Until then, may your dreams be filled with your favorite fictional characters. All yours, Satyanshi.